Hey, welcome back to Grit Gym. Today's Monday. I hope you guys had an awesome weekend. Even though the Hawks lost, which has never really been a thing for me, but I know it is for a lot of people. So cool. But I always do find it a very interesting social experiment in Iowa City that when their team, or any time that the team that you support loses, that it ruins your day. I've never been that attached to something, I don't think, and I find it very interesting. But today we're going to talk about program design. People are asking me, someone asked me that you can read in the caption there, but they said, who did all this for you? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, this is a chain, right? And I said, well, no, not. I kind of laughed, kind of chuckled a little bit, like, no, I wish it was a chain. That'd be sweet. And I'm, well, how did you design all the programs and all of do all of this stuff? And I'm like, well, I didn't know how to quite even respond to that, but I was like, well, I just kind of did them. So I'm making this video today to kind of go over the overview of how we build programs at a Grit Gym and how I think most people need to go about this thing if they really want to do well with it. If they really want this thing to be everything that they want it to be, then you have to sit down and plan this thing out. I hear this all the time where people show up to the gym and they say, like, that's their thing with wanting to come in here, is that they always showed up to the gym and they didn't know what to do. They'd be like, oh man, what do I need to do today? And it's like, well, by that time we're already way too late, So the way that I'm going to start this out is the very simple question that you've probably all heard before: which is heavier, a pound of nails or a pound of feathers? So you have 1 pound. So you have a pound of nails. You have 1 pound of nails. And you have 1 pound of feathers. Which one weighs more? Okay. This is the thing. This is the same thing that I tried to show the other day with calories. A mile is a mile. A kilogram is a kilogram. A pound is a pound. Okay. These both weigh the same. They both weigh 1 pound. 1 pound. Okay. They both weigh the same. Now, when it gets into program design, and then when it gets into the calorie, things change just a little bit. Okay. If you were just like a mile, if you take a mile is just a mile, right? What if it's you're in the Amazon and you've got to bushwhack your way through everything, and it's this really treacherous journey to go a mile, versus you're on this like open field out in Nebraska and it's just like miles and miles and miles and nothing's there and it's just super flat. Well, those miles are going to be a different journey, but they're the exact same mile. They're the same distance. Okay, same thing with a pound right here. Now, the thing when it comes into program design that I think people leave out is that, what are we going to use them for? Which one would you rather want? Would you rather want a pound of nails, or would you rather want a pound of feathers? Okay. See, it depends. What would you want to use it for? Are you trying to, if you're going to use it as a pillow, you'd rather have the pound of feathers. If you're going to build a house, you'd rather have a pound of nails. Okay. And I think program design gets confused just based on that. What are you using it for? What is the topic that we're using it for? And program design is just like that. So we have program design, and I think people underestimate the very first thing that needs to be is, what is the goal? Where do we want to end? Not necessarily are we going to go to the end and work backwards, even though we are, but we're trying to figure out, what is the goal? What is the intention for doing this thing? Is it fat loss? Is it strength? I'm going to have to start shorthanding here pretty soon. All right, is it speed? Is it power? Is it endurance? Is it muscle gain? Is it what if it's therapy? What if it's physical therapy to get us back? What if it's protection? Okay? What if it's protection? What if it's solely based on health? You just want to get better. Okay? What if, am I missing any? Injury prevention would be another one. Speed, power. Okay? What if it's prevention? Okay? Okay? We have to take all of these into account. Most people are like, well, isn't exercise just exercise? Well, no, it is not. Exercise is not just exercise in the sense that you can just do whatever you want and hope for a result. That's just kind of throwing crap at a wall and figure out what sticks. And a certain amount of that would have a place if your health wasn't this outrageously precious resource that you cannot not plan for. Like, you can't not have a thing have a plan going into this. When I hear people that say, when they're like, well, I just kind of walk into the gym. I was like, what kind of program are you on? What are you doing? How are you doing this? They're like, I walk into the gym and I just kind of like ask myself what I'm going to do that day. Man, you are so far behind at that point. You are so far behind. We have to pick one of these things. We have to pick whether we're going for fat loss, strength, muscle gain, endurance, injury prevention, health. We're going for like a protective thing to try to make sure that we're going to prevent injuries. We have to pick between these things. So that's the first thing, is we have to have a goal in mind. Okay, not necessarily a specific goal. You have to have like almost like a hierarchy of like what you're going to do and how you're going to be training around it. Now, I lost track of where I am in my speech. Okay, so this is the thing. Like all those things that I wrote up there. So fat loss, yuck. Terrible handwriting. So fat loss, this is the number one mistake I see when it comes to program design, is not by way of not setting the goal. If you don't set the goal and you say, okay, well I'm gonna work out for all of them and I'm gonna try to get them all at once. Okay, well if you're going for fat loss and you end up doing a strength training program, let's say, you might get some benefits in the fat loss category, but your focus was on strength. If you're focused on fat loss, then you probably do need to add some strength training into your program, but your goal was fat loss, so you're going to sacrifice the fat loss for the strength. So you have to pick one. Pick what you're going to do. You have to pick this. So like when I'm designing a program, I have somebody come in, I figure out what the goal is. Figure out what the goal is. I have to figure out 3 things up front. I have to know their health history. Okay? I have to know their health history to figure out where they've been. I have to have the goal to figure out where they want to go. And I have to assess to figure out where they are now. Without this, I cannot decide on how to get to here because I don't know where they have been and I don't know where they are. It's like being okay, well, I want to go to New York. All right, where are you? It's going to be a completely different path if you're in Florida than if you're in Iowa. Completely 2 different things. You have to know where they are, where they've been, and where they're going. If you don't know these 3 things, you're guessing. You might end up there, maybe by chance, but I don't want to chance it, and I can't chance it. You chance things and you get people hurt. Like to me, like I pride myself on saying no one's going to get hurt on my watch, but like getting people hurt is like that's criminal. Like we would never say that if you go out in the street and beat somebody up, that's not absurd. But we're perfectly willing to do that to our own bodies inside of a gym. Like that's absurd too. So I figure these three things out. I figure out their history, I figure out the assessment, and I figure out the goal. Next thing is I plan for 4 months out. Okay? Once I've done the assessment, I know where they are. I know whether they can do chin-ups, overhead presses, squats. I know what kind of squat that they should do. I know the depth of the squat that they need to do. I know the width of their feet. I know what their back can take and not take. I know that what kind of hip socket they have, what kind of shoulder girdle they have. I know how their shoulder blade moves. I know how their core functions. I know where they're weak, where they're strong. I know a lot of stuff about their body right here. Okay, I need to watch out for this one because if somebody has some kind of problem like a broken bone, an ankle, some kind of injury in the past that is holding them back that told me right there I need to address it within this 4 months. So within this 4 months, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I plan it out. This is how I do it. I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but I think everybody should. Because you can't really plan out past 4 months. You don't know what the details are. And if you haven't noticed yet, we're going from very, very, very conceptual to very, very, very specific. So very conceptual to very specific. All right, if we tried to plan out 12 months, we don't know where they're going to be in 12 months. Okay, I don't need to be picking out exercises clear out in 12-month territory. Okay, and everybody starts with the exercises. They're like, what exercises should I do today? No, no, don't do that. All right, make a plan. So we're going to do 4 months. Okay, so what's the goal in these 4 months? All right, let's say that we started out with a goal for strength. I've said this on this show many times before. This has to be your first goal. This is before endurance. This is before fat loss. Strength within movement quality. Strength via movement quality. I said that wrong. Strength via movement quality. And you do that by moving within the movement patterns that are appropriate and specific to you. You need to go for strength first. So we're going to look at strength, okay? You do this before endurance, you do this before anything. And the reason for that is because the fallout that you get from strength, okay, the secondary benefits that you get from strength happen to help the most things, okay? If you go for endurance, you sacrifice strength. If you go for fat loss, you're going to sacrifice strength. If you go for alactic glycolytic, you sacrifice strength. So strength has to be the first one. Via movement quality, not just moving a bunch of weight like a bunch of dumb animals. All right, so you got 4 months, 1, 2, 3, 4. We break that out. Now we have to figure out what's the goal for each one of these. All right, we know that this needs to be almost like this needs to be a max strength. We know that that's going to be a max strength. So now we're starting with the end in mind and we're working backwards to here. Did I make my case for why I don't think that you should take a year and try to figure it out? I think you should plan it. This is how I do it. When someone walks in here, I write out 4 programs. The second that they sign up, I'm like, all right, I got 4 programs I'm going to write out. Okay, I figure out their goal. I think it needs to be strength. I'm not going to fight you on it too much, but on some level, you have to have strength via movement quality. We're going to get we're going to focus on everything. We can't max out people here, or here, but we can start moving towards having some kind of repetition max in the 4th month. Because by the 4th month, we've built enough durability. Okay, number 1, movement quality. Movement quality needs to be there. Okay, so we need to now durability. Needs to be number 2. So we have movement quality. Now we're getting a little bit more durable. All right. Now in here we're kind of going through almost like a strength endurance kind of thing, where the focus is on building upon what we got here, so that you can do it more times, so that we can get a benefit out of doing it here. Okay. So we've backed out and we've gone all the way forward with this thing. So to recap. We have to figure out what the goal is first. We have to assess. We have to get a history. And then I break it down into 4 months. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. We figure out what we're doing in those first 4 months. This is a conceptual breakdown of what could happen. I'm not saying every single person needs to do this. I hope this person isn't walking in right now, because that could be kind of interesting. We're on a live show. Crap. I think that might be what's happening. All right, I got to shut this one down. I'll be back on here in a second, guys. Thanks.